Eagles! Eagles! I am not an Eagles fan, but man, I really wanted to do that as the intro. But officially, all right. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome freaking day. My name is Garrett Shumake, and you are listening to the Shumake Take. This is the Shumake Take Super Bowl 59 recap. What a game. For a bunch of different reasons. Some good, some bad. But oh my goodness. I woke up Super Bowl Sunday, and the outcome that I saw was not what I expected. But I think for a lot of people, this was a Super Bowl where America truly won. Because everyone hates the Chiefs, and everyone wanted Philly to win. But also, people wanted to see the Chiefs get humbled. And good God, did these Chiefs get humbled. Big time. Jesus Christ. Before we get into the game, though, I want to talk about a couple things first, do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we'll get back into all the hype for Philly winning the Super Bowl. But the first thing is the Shumake Take Awards. I teased this in my recent episode, the Super Bowl 59 preview. I teased it, and I put a community post on YouTube. I'm going to postpone it for one more week. Why? Because I have some ideas that I want to do with this. First off, I have an idea of I have a blue screen that's sitting against the wall over there in my room, and I want to incorporate a couple really cool editing tricks that I have learned throughout my time in college and really make this into like a full-blown, well-edited like skit type of thing, more than just me standing on a camera and just saying, oh, the award for MVP is so-and-so. So I'm going to really make this a well-edited, really well like clean video, and really push myself to make something that I really haven't, done in a long time. I used to make a lot of videos like that when I was in college. That was really well edited, a lot of good, editing techniques, whatnot, clean, right? But really haven't done that much since starting the show because it's mostly just turn the camera on, sit down, and here's my script, and, let my mouth do the talking, and let's go to town, right? So it's going to be really fun to do. I think I'm going to really... I lost my train of thought. I'm going to put a lot of effort into this and really make it the best I can make it. So I'm going to postpone it for a week as I do more research on how to relearn certain editing tactics, learn some new ones, and really make this a phenomenal award show. Only the Shumake Take can deliver. Only me, Garrett Shumake, can deliver for you guys. So that is going to be happening. And also, predictions versus reality. I am finishing up the scripts this week. I have 8 or 9 left to go. I will be recording them next week. So next week, you probably won't see a regular podcast episode with news unless something breaking happens. But with that being said, prediction versus reality will be dropping next week. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to schedule things out. I'm probably just going to go like division by division. Right, I'll probably start with like the AFC, then I'll start with the NFC. I might just end up doing that. I might go, this is what I'll do. I will go AFC North, South, East, West, and then I'll go NFC North, South, East, West. So that's how we're going to do it. So we'll start next week. You'll see the AFC North, and the AFC South. You'll see that. And then next week, AFC East, AFC West. Maybe that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try, maybe. Recording 16 videos in 1 week is going to be a bit of a stretch, if I'm being honest, and talking about it openly with you guys and kind of with myself, because I'm in the room by myself. But theoretically, if I was going to do 16 videos in 1 week, I would do 2 videos Monday through Friday, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. That's 10 videos right there. And then do 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. That makes 16. Do that in 2 weeks. And then by March, bam, they're all out, ready to go. I think I'll try the first week. I'm going to try and push myself to do it. We'll see what happens. And then the next week, maybe, because the first week of March, free agency doesn't open. It's when the second week, it's that second Tuesday of March at 4 p.m. when free agency opens. I don't know exactly what day it is. I just know that's the day that free agency opens. So we got plenty of time for these videos to drop out, roll out, and watch your favorite team, or listen to me talk about your favorite team, and talk about how good they were, how bad they were, and what happened, what went right, what went wrong, and where each team needs to get better and how they can do it. So predictions versus reality next week. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited to pump these videos out for you guys. And at the end of this video, at the end of the Super Bowl 59 preview, just want to let you guys know that I got news. I got a few little bits of news to talk about with you guys at the end here. So if you want to stick around and listen to me talk about that and give you my thoughts, including Kellen Moore becoming the new Saints head coach, stick around to the end of this video. So let's get in to officially get into the Super Bowl 59 recap. So, first quarter, things were honestly pretty even. I wouldn't say it was a really like it wasn't far. How do I explain this? It was just close. It was just really close, honestly. And also, it would not be a Chiefs Super Bowl without its fair share of controversy. We all know what happened at the beginning of this game. Eagles on the opening drive go for it on fourth down. Jalen Hurts is able to find A.J. Brown on a deep vertical, and it gets pulled back because of an offensive pass interference. And it was called because A.J. Brown put his hand on Trent McDuffie's face mask, and they're trying to say, oh, he pushed off. He didn't push off. He did not push off. He put his hand there. It was very ticky-tack. I can understand why it was called. Anytime like a hand goes to the face, it gets, that's a big gray area. Obviously, because, face mask, right? Hands to the face, unnecessary roughness or roughing the passer if it's a quarterback, if your hand's hitting the quarterback's face, right? So anytime a hand gets into the face, that's probably going to get called just because it's a really big gray area of, contact where contact is allowed in football. So I can understand it, but also it was very ticky-tack, and I don't agree with it to start the game on a big play on fourth down. That was just unnecessary, and so that happened, and then Eagles ended up punting, and here we go. The game's like settled in now, and Kansas City, they get the ball, and they start driving down the field a little bit. Started with a couple RPOs like they did against Buffalo. It wasn't against Buffalo. No, it was against Buffalo. They started doing that, and it started working. They got a couple first downs, and then the Eagles defense, they bowed up. They forced Mahomes to scramble out of the pocket, throw the ball away on third down, forcing a punt. And there we go. First couple of drives, we got a couple punts. Both defenses showing out early. And, the Chiefs defense, because they were able to get off the field on fourth down, I guess. But either way, that's pretty much what happened in this first quarter. It was just a little bit of back and forth, settling the nerves, right? Feeling each other out. That's usually what the first quarter of all games are about. But especially in the Super Bowl, the first quarter is all about just settling into the moment, into the environment, and just getting ready to do your thing. And really settle into this game, do your thing. Second quarter was a little bit more in the Chiefs' favor. At the beginning of it, at least. Jalen Hurts, he was outside the red zone, faced a bunch of pressure, threw a ball up, ill-advised, underthrown really bad, gets picked off by Brian Cook, and at that point, a lot of people started to fear that Philly was about to just flame out, right? It kind of felt like, oh, all the momentum's on the Chiefs, and oh no, they're going to drive down the field and score. This is not what the Eagles needed to do to win. And next drive, Patrick Mahomes can't move the ball. Eagles bow up again, make a huge stand, force the Chiefs to punt, and then on the next drive, Philly gets the ball, and they drive down and get 3 points. That wasn't without controversy either, as they get a false start called on them, pushing them back 5 yards. But the replay showed it was clear and obvious that Kansas City's defense, as a down defensive line, but two guys on that line jumped off sides. They jumped off sides, and then the center, weighing his head down to go snap it, and he got the false start, even though the Chiefs clearly jumped first. Not just jumped first, they jumped off sides. They clearly jumped over the line of scrimmage, and that happened. It pushed it back 5 yards, but Jake Elliott drilled it right down the middle, so no worries there. Next drive for the Chiefs was the omen for disaster. This is where everything began to fall apart for Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes gets sacked on back-to-back plays, and then on third down, he's trying to do his thing, kind of bailed from a clean pocket, rolling to his right. I thought, okay, he doesn't have anything, he's going to throw it away, nothing was there, and next thing I know, he rips the ball, and then the next second later, bam, it's right in Cooper DeJean's hands, and he's running with it, running to the other side of the field to the right sideline, and it's like, what? In looking at the replay, I was like, what was he throwing to? What was he looking at? It was a terrible throw. It was objectively an awful throw. Nothing we do not see often, or really at all, from Patrick Mahomes. And so Cooper DeJean picks it off, right? Real quick, Cooper DeJean, rookie out of Iowa, absolute stud, stepped in for Devontae Maddox earlier in the year when he got benched, played out of his mind, and then in the Super Bowl, on his birthday, gets his first career interception and runs it back for a touchdown. And bam, it's instantly 10-0. The momentum literally went from in the span of in the snap of a finger. I can't snap my finger, so can you guys hear that? Maybe you guys can hear that, maybe. But either way, just from and snap of a finger, the momentum went from the Chiefs all the way to Philly's side in a way that I did not expect at all. And so then that happened, and then they exchanged a couple drives. Jalen Hurts, I think before the pick six, Jalen Hurts threw a touchdown to A.J. Brown. So the pick six actually made it a 17-0 lead at that point in time. And then also in the second quarter, Patrick Mahomes threw a second interception. Threw it right over the middle to Zach Bond. Zach Bond jumped the route, was able to get it. Another bad throw. Bond was sitting right there waiting for it. And it was another play where Patrick Mahomes had a clean pocket, but just looked rattled, and bam, there's another interception. And then there you go. And at this point, the Eagles are in big control. And then the halftime show happened. Well, before the halftime show, the analysts on Fox, they're talking about, how the Eagles have been dominating. And then the narrative came up that, we've seen a comeback like this before. Remember Super Bowl 51 when a little guy known as Tom Brady came back from 28-3, and it's not over yet. And of course, that gets an eye roll from me because, it's definitely, the game's definitely not over, right? It's not over until the final whistle, but it felt more like catering to the narrative of getting the Chiefs winning and getting the three-peat more than, genuine analytics. It felt like it felt a little biased, in my opinion, but that is my opinion. But it happened, then the halftime show happened. I thought it was all right. A lot of the messaging and whatnot. It's what Kendrick Lamar is known for, right? All the subtle stuff, which, pretty cool. And it was all right. Me, personally, I just don't like rock music all that much. It's not my thing. I prefer, rock, punk rock, classic rock, right? That's my big one. And then, why did I put quotations? I don't know. But rock music is my forte. That's where I really like it. I also like a lot of 2010s house music and a lot of music from the 2010s, my childhood. A lot of that stuff I resonate with. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. So that's really where I like to join music. And also, this might be a little bit cringe. I apologize. But if you like video game music, I really recommend listening to music from Sonic the Hedgehog. Not even trying to sound funny or nothing. I'm dead serious. There's so many good songs in that franchise. There's a reason why Sonic the Hedgehog makes some of the greatest video game soundtracks of all time. My favorite, personally, Sonic Unleashed, literally just a love letter to a whole bunch of different cultures, to a whole bunch of crazy, I don't know, what's the word? I don't even know what I'm looking for at this point. This is why I gotta script certain stuff, because I don't know exactly what I'm saying. I'll start and then I can't finish. But it's just a big love letter to all the cultures that Sonic travels through in the world. It's like a world adventure type of game. So he's traveling through America. He's traveling through Africa, Europe, right? Asia. So he's traveling across the world to put the world back together because it gets broken apart by Dr. Eggman. But that's not the point. The point is it's a really good soundtrack. It's awesome. I love it. It's my favorite video game soundtrack of all time. I highly recommend you listen to it. But anyways, that's the type of music I like listening to. But overall, the halftime show is all right. I can dig it. And here we go. And despite what the analyst said, I did feel like the Chiefs were going to play better in the second half. They had to. They absolutely had to. It was what the Chiefs did in the first half, that was not them. Okay, they're going to settle down in the second half and things are going to get a little bit better. But immediately, Chiefs get the ball and first two plays, sack back to back. And it's, okay, they're the same Chiefs. This is going to be pretty bad. And then Jalen Hurts in the third quarter, second half, really began to take over the game with his legs. It's important to note that the Chiefs were eliminating Saquon Barkley the whole game. He was not running the ball well at all. And in turn, it allowed for Jalen Hurts to really take over the game with his legs. And it wasn't the only thing that was dominant for the Eagles. They were dominating time of possession. And in the third quarter, the Chiefs only had the ball 2 or 3 times. And then one of those times, they went forward on fourth down. It gets batted away. And then the very next play action, Jalen Hurts takes a deep shot to Devontae Smith. Bam. Right there. And it's 24-0 at that point. And so now the lead's even bigger. And then the fourth quarter, the Eagles scored again at some point. The Eagles scored multiple times. At 24. I'm missing a couple scoring drives for the Chiefs there. They had a couple more field goals, but they ended up scoring 40 points, right? And so the third quarter was really where the Eagles asserted their dominance and really put this game away. And in the fourth quarter, simply was not entertaining. The Eagles pulled out their starters, put in their backups, let them get some playing time, which good. That's really cool to see. And then Patrick Mahomes had a few touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Had one DeAndre Hopkins, which congratulations to DeAndre Hopkins for scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I love that guy. That's awesome. And then Xavier Worthy got a couple of them, had a few big plays. The second touchdown, though, I will admit, was a very amazing throw. It was one of the best throws I think I've ever seen. Just chucking it, launching it. It was super deep ball, far accurate, right in the bucket for Worthy. It was a beautiful throw. Like, despite everything that Patrick Mahomes did in this game and how bad he was, we'll talk about it later. But it was a great throw. So, a couple garbage time touchdowns and final score 40-22. And that's all she wrote. And then now, fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Your EAGLES Eagles are Super Bowl 59 champions. That is what happened in this game. But getting into some of the individual performances, you cannot start talking about Philly without talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 17 of 22, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, had the interception, but early in the game, the rest of the game, he was automatic, fantastic. Add on 11 runs for 72 yards, had a rushing touchdown, but it was on the goal line, it was a tush push. So, either way, he gets the Super Bowl MVP, and honestly, congratulations. Jalen Hurts in this game was just phenomenal. He was. When they needed to have a play and when they had to have it, Jalen Hurts delivered. People love to trash Jalen Hurts because, he only plays well because he has a great team around him. What do you mean? I hate this argument that people do for quarterbacks where, they have a terrible team around him. He needs more help. But then he actually gets help and has a great team around him. And it's like, he's carried by his team. No, Jalen Hurts, I know that some of his numbers over the regular season were not great compared to some other years that he's had. Like 2022, he should have won MVP in my opinion. Right? It wasn't that good. But the thing is, Jalen Hurts, when you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, you have great receivers, a great offensive line, a phenomenal defense. You don't have to do all that much. And your job is to just, play well, don't turn the ball over, right? Don't make mistakes. And when they need you, you'll step up and you'll be ready. And that's what Jalen Hurts did. And he honestly did more than that because when Saquon Barkley was getting stuffed, he elevated his game and took over the rushing attack for the Philadelphia Eagles. And that was fantastic. That's why he won Super Bowl MVP. When they had to have a play, Jalen Hurts delivered and then some, and then some, and absolutely put the team on his back on offense. And then you look at Jalen Hurts, like his whole career, like is just amazing, right? He goes to Alabama. He's a starter there for a couple years, gets benched for Tua Tagovailoa in the national championship, transfers to Oklahoma, has a good year, gets drafted in the second round by the Philadelphia Eagles while they still had Carson Wentz, and it caused a lot of controversy. When he started, he didn't look too good. They get rid of Carson. They're sticking with Hurts, and people were, Eagles fans were not happy. And then they find their way into the playoffs in 2021. They lose to Tampa, right? And then after that, 2022, Jalen Hurts pops off and becomes that guy. He becomes that guy for Philly, gets the big contract, and now he is the franchise quarterback, bona fide franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He now has a Super Bowl ring, a Super Bowl MVP under his belt. You cannot not be happy for Jalen Hurts, man. You really can't. His story from where he came from and how all the adversity he had to deal with to get to this point and be a Super Bowl champion, incredible. He's been to 2 Super Bowls already. He probably should have won the first one, but we won't talk about that. This is in the past now because they won this one. They got it. And just congratulations to Mr. Jalen Hurts. So happy for you. And then receiving-wise, getting some of the receivers, Devontae Smith ended up finishing with 69 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown catch was really nice. It was a beautiful throw by Jalen Hurts. A.J. Brown, he caught a touchdown in this game. That was awesome. Jahan Dotson, he had 2 big catches in this game. One was in the first quarter. I think one was in the third quarter. But any of you that bet on Jahan Dotson to have a good number of receiving yards. Well, your parlay hit big. You hit really big. And I almost bet on Jahan Dotson, and I chose not to, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't. The plays that he made were awesome. They're really fun, flashy. Dallas Goedert, 2 catches, 27 yards. And outside of that, those are the only receivers that caught a pass. Saquon Barkley caught a few passes. We'll talk about him in a second. And then I think Kenneth Gainwell caught one. But that was it. They really didn't throw the ball all that much. It was just efficient and clean, which is what the Eagles' passing game has been all year long. Wasn't high volume, wasn't, a bunch of throws down the field. It's just simple, easy completions to move the chains and remain efficient. That's what the Eagles' offense has been all year. That's literally all it's been. It's just efficient. And in this game, even with Saquon Barkley not being able to do anything in the ground game, they were efficient. And then you get to Saquon Barkley, who ended up finishing with 25 carries for 57 yards, right? Not that good of a performance, but the fact that the Chiefs defense sold out to stop him allowed for everyone else to elevate and play better because of it. And he did have 6 catches for 40 yards. They got him involved in the passing game, and he played well there. So he was able to supplement there, ended up finishing with 97 total yards on 31 touches, which is not a bad day overall for Saquon Barkley. I would like to see more. And although I did expect the Chiefs to slow down Saquon, not to this degree, but I will say, though, overall, Saquon played a big role in this game and also played well for the most part. But while Jalen Hurts, he deserves Super Bowl MVP. If you could give Super Bowl MVP to a whole unit or a whole group, it would be the defensive line. This defensive line, this might have been the greatest performance by a defensive line, by a front four, I think I have ever seen. And I'm not even joking. I genuinely believe this might be one of the greatest performances I have ever witnessed in my entire lifetime. In my entire 22 years of existence on this planet, that was one of the greatest things I think I've ever seen from an NFL defense, from the front four defensive line. They had 25 pressures, which was nearly 50% of the time. Which, for those of you that don't understand the pressure numbers, to get pressure almost 50% of the time is nuts. It's absolutely insane. That's a very, very high number, right? And they got 6 sacks, got the forced fumble in the fourth quarter. And here's the best part. The best part about it. They did not blitz one time. Not once, not twice, at all. They did not blitz one time. Everything that the Eagles did in containing Patrick Mahomes, absolutely destroying this offensive line for the Chiefs and rattling Mahomes in a way we have never seen him rattled before with only 4 guys. Only 4 guys. But you want to know why this worked? I will tell you why it worked. Because the defensive tackles, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams. Those 3 guys triple-handedly destroyed the Chiefs from the inside out. Literally, from the inside out, because it's in the interior defensive line. And you see stuff like this happen, and you look at, how many defensive tackles went in the second round, early second round in the NFL draft this past year. And we are starting to see an increase in value of interior defensive linemen, because on defense, probably the 2 most important positions are edge rusher and corner. As the game has become a more passing oriented league, or the game has become a passing oriented game, the value of corners and pass rushers have gone up. But while edge rushers obviously are still great, they can take over a game. The thing that really gets a quarterback off his rhythm and really can rattle one is interior pressure. Because if you're an edge rusher, there's ways to mitigate or contain an edge rusher. You can throw a tight end out there to chip. You can throw a running back in pass protection. If you're a lineman with a good technique, you can take that edge rusher, make him run past the quarterback. And when that happens, what is this right here? Right here. It's a lane. It's a lane for the quarterback to scramble and extend the play. Right? But if you get interior pressure and get it right here, right in your face, you cannot. First off, quarterbacks, when they go to throw, they love to step up in the pocket. Right? When edge rushers come like this, step up, deliver your throw. But if you got a defensive line, interior defensive line, these defensive tackles going right here, You have no room to step up, so it forces a lot of early throws and a lot of errant throws, which Patrick Mahomes had a ton of those in this game. And also eliminates the ability to scramble out, because at this point right here, you go to scramble out when someone's right here. It is it makes it a lot easier for the edge rushers to be able to sack you and clean up, which Josh Sweat and Nakobe Dean for the Eagles, they're not the most explosive, dominant edge rushers, but they're very high effort and they are very good at cleaning up plays. That's what they're really good at. And so when you get a great interior defensive line with those three guys, completely, eliminating room to step up and really cleanly scramble out of the pocket, it's a cleanup. It's literally perfect. It's literally just, the interior pressure just does so much more to rattle a quarterback than edge rushers do. Edge rushers still have their value, obviously, and they will continue to be. But seeing how many defensive tackles went in the second round and seeing how many more teams are really focusing on, instead of 2 defensive tackles, more teams are focusing on 3 in a rotation, right? So they all stay fresh. That's because the value, or all this to say, that the value of interior defensive tackles, right, or defensive linemen are seeing an increase in value. And that's really cool. And you look at the numbers, Jordan Davis, he had a sack. Josh Sweat had 2.5. Jalix Hunt, the linebacker, got one of those sacks. Or half a sack, I should say. And then Milton Williams, 2 sacks, including the forced fumble. He was a dominant force all game long. Every time you looked up and Patrick Mahomes was scrambling or making quick throws, he was right there. He was like, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, Milton Williams was right here in his face, ready to hit him, get him down. But it wasn't just his defensive line. This defensive line was great in their own right. And it really made everyone's job a lot easier. But everyone else played phenomenal. Zach Bond had the interception, locked the middle of the field down. There really was not very many throws that got open over the middle on the Eagles defense. And also, he was on Travis Kelce most of the game. He locked his butt down. He locked his butt down almost the entire game. He only had 1 or 2 catches in the first half. That was it. And they weren't for very many yards either. It was an absolute phenomenal performance from Zach Bond, who in my opinion should have won Defensive Player of the Year. We'll talk more about that later at the end of the show. But also, Cooper DeJean, I already shouted him out, but also Darius Slay and Quinion Mitchell locked down the sidelines. The Chiefs, their two MOs are attack the middle or take a deep shot. That is where they do their best work. And they couldn't attack over the middle, but they also couldn't they take deep shots down the field. The only true deep shots happened in the fourth quarter when the starters were pulled out and the backups came in. That was it. Darius Slay and Quinion Mitchell absolutely locked down their receivers and locked down anything deep down the field. There was multiple times too where Patrick Mahomes stepped up and looked like he was going to take a shot downfield, but then immediately went down to his check down because they were covering them so well. And then holistically for the defense, they got the 4th down stop. They eliminated the run game completely, practically, for Kansas City. They held the Chiefs at 3 of 11 on 3rd down, which was a key matchup when I talked about this in my Super Bowl 59 preview. And they dominated time of possession ultimately, 37 minutes, 23. And you look at their keys to the game. You look at their keys as I check my timer here for just a moment. Sorry. And key number 1 was to contain Patrick Mahomes. Did they do that? Yes, they did, and then some. It wasn't just that they contained him. They literally got him rattled to his core. It was insane. It was literally a fantastic performance. Absolutely fantastic. The second key, you got to win in the red zone. Wait, what did they do? Yes, they did that. They won in the red zone every time they got there. They came away with points, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown. And also, they won on the red zone side on the defensive side because the Chiefs didn't pass midfield to the fourth quarter. So, whoop-de-doo. That's a win, right? That's a big win. The third one, create turnovers. And I wrote this in the preview. The Chiefs are not good at making mistakes. The Rams and the Chiefs were tied for 4th fewest turnovers, and you did it to LA. So what is stopping Philly from doing it to Kansas City? They got 3 of them. Not only did they get 3 of them, they directly related to at least 17 points. The pick six obviously led to a touchdown. The other interception led to a touchdown. And then I think the strip sack fumble led to 3 points. There you go. Just take advantage. Get the turnovers, and you can win this game. I literally said that you got to create turnovers, and that the Rams and the Chiefs were tied for fourth, and you did it to LA. That's crazy that I called that. Like, that's insane. By the way, key number 4, contain the pass. More importantly, secondary discipline when plays break down. They did that very, very well. I thought that the Chiefs were going to win this game because these young corners would not be able to run with Patrick Mahomes as he's scrambling. No, not only did they run with him, they absolutely locked him down. Every time Patrick Mahomes scrambled, he either threw a pick, ran for a couple yards, or threw it away, it felt like. He did not make any good plays scrambling with the football at all. He was absolutely neutralized in that department. And then the one play where he actually scrambled around and was able to run for a first down, it got called back for a holding penalty. When they forced Patrick Mahomes out and forced him to scramble, which is where he does his best work, they absolutely neutralized his ability. Absolutely neutralized it. So, key number 4, continuing to pass. Yes, yes, yes. The 5th and 6th keys. Saquon needs to eat, but the passing game will have to carry this team. Yes. There you go. Jalen Hurts, right? But also, you got to be who you are and do not feed Saquon. They fed him. They fed him, and it completely, they let the Chiefs play right into their hands. They played right into their hands. The Chiefs sold out to stop Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts, this passing game, and along with his ability to run the football, absolutely took over the game. Absolutely took over the game on the offensive side for Philly. And that was because the Chiefs literally spent all their resources trying to stop Saquon Barkley, and they were not going to allow him to do anything in this game. And everyone else, meanwhile, just kept on doing whatever they wanted. Literally, whatever they wanted, they had it and they got it. And then the 7th key, if you get ahead, stay ahead. Guess what? They got ahead and they stayed ahead. This game was never tied. It was never like the Chiefs never had a lead. No, the Eagles had the first points of the game and they never gave up the lead since. They never gave up the lead at all in this game, which is phenomenal. Insane. Absolutely insane. And then the 8th key, minimizing penalties. Yes, they had one more penalty than Kansas City, but like 3 or 4 of those were like a false start or like a weird like illegal formation thing when every time Jake Elliott went to go kick a field goal, which was really weird, right? I don't count those as penalties, especially when you're up so big. It's like, what? Like, that doesn't really, like, the context matters here. It really does matter here. So that happened, and literally all these keys, they did that and then some. And then you get to Patrick Mahomes. You get to the other side of the coin here. 21 of 32, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The stat line looks like it was decent. But that was all fourth quarter stat padding, homies. Fourth quarter stat padding was all that was when the Eagles sat all their starters. This was objectively, in my opinion, this was objectively the worst performance of Patrick Mahomes' career. The worst. Objectively the worst. And it's not because, his numbers were awful. No. I don't know why I put 1 interception here. He had 2 interceptions. I just noticed that. But the reason why Patrick Mahomes was so bad in this game was because the defensive line for the Eagles was absolutely eating him alive in the pass rush, right? They didn't allow him to get out of the pocket very much. But when he did, he was god awful with the football. Both interceptions, like I mentioned, were horrible. Absolutely horrible, disgusting throws. But at the same time, he had a lot of throws that were just inaccurate. They were late. They just weren't on time. Like the 4th down stop, that was a late throw. That ball needed to be out like half a second sooner, and it came out half a second late, and Avonte Maddox was able to, bop it out, right? Last second and force a turnover on downs. And this is why, another reason why interior pressure or pressure in general is so important on a quarterback. Because you looked at Patrick Mahomes, and what Patrick Mahomes is known for is his scrambling ability, right? His ability to make something out of nothing. But what really people don't mention, when he does all this stuff and making a play out of nothing, he still stays mechanically sound throughout the entire thing, right? No matter where he's running, no matter what he's doing, he is going to be as mechanically sound as possible, right? He's not going to fall apart and make a bunch of wonky mistakes. This game, he made a ton of wonky mistakes. His footwork after the first quarter immediately went to crap. Right? It immediately, there was a throw where he threw it to Travis Kelce and it was kind of behind him, and his feet are literally wider than shoulder length apart. Like, you're not going to complete an NFL pass with your stance like that. And then multiple times he would just stutter his feet. One thing that a lot of quarterbacks aren't supposed to do is stutter their feet and tap dance like you have those tap dance shoes, or people call it twinkle toes or happy feet. You don't want to have happy feet, right? Because your whole idea to throw a football is you got to have everything be stable, and having your feet pitter-pattering, it's not stable. He was doing that all game long. It looked awful. It looked really, really awful. And then he was bailing from clean pockets, and points he was just trying to do too much. It was just terrible. And at some points, like the strip sack, he had a receiver wide open over the middle, but just held the ball. He held the ball for way too long. And that's what pressure does. Pressure can really rattle a quarterback and knock them off their game. But I have never seen Patrick Mahomes get knocked off his game as much as he did in this game. It was the worst performance of his career. Really. He never made big plays with the football until it didn't matter. And when he tried to do what he does best, literally just made the worst decisions possible with the football. And when you're careless with the football and you're neutralized where you do your best work, you're not going to have a good day. And he did not just have a good day. He had an awful day. And then receiving wise, the only player that did anything was Xavier Worthy. He had 8 catches, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? But no one's talking about it because it all came in the fourth quarter. It all came when the game was already over practically. So it doesn't matter when you're doing it against, the Eagles backups. Of course you're going to do that against the Eagles backups. They're backups for a reason. And everyone was like, oh, he had played such a great game. And it's like, no, he didn't. Statistically, sure. But context, again, matters. Doing that against backups when the game was already out of reach doesn't matter. If he was doing that from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, okay, we got something going. We have a conversation to be had here, right? Just like Patrick Mahomes when he faced the Bucs a few years ago in Super Bowl 56 or 55, right? The numbers didn't show a whole lot, but you look at the game and you could tell that he was giving it everything he had, despite everything around him falling apart. Right? Same concept here. Similar, I should say. Not really, but I don't know. I think I got my point across. Either way, Travis Kelce, 4 catches, 39 yards. Terrible in this game. He looked slow. He looked old. He looked washed. Straight up. Then DeAndre Hopkins, 2 catches, 18 yards, and a touchdown. I wish I would have saw him more, but, he says he's not done. He also looked old. Juju also, there's a lot of old receivers on this group, and they really didn't do anything. Against an Eagles defense that's got a lot of young talent and a lot of freak athletes, they just didn't match up well. Hollywood Brown and 2 catches, 15 yards, both were in the first quarter. Didn't see another target the rest of the game, I don't think. And then rushing was even worse. It somehow got even worse. Patrick Mahomes is the leading rusher, ran it for 4 times for 25 yards. Kareem Hunt had 3 for 9. Samaje Perine, 1 for 8. Isaiah Pacheco, 3 for 7. Just for 1 second, what was this game plan on offense? They spent 2 weeks preparing for this game, and the best they could do was have 7 design runs. I get that you got down so early, right? I know you got down 17-0 at halftime, but even in that first half, they were barely trying to run the ball, right? They were barely trying to run the ball then. Second half, okay, you're down 17-0. Third quarter, first you had the ball to start the second half. You need to run the ball. Not because, we need to score quickly. No, because you got to score points. Yes, you got to get a touchdown there. That's why it's so important to get the ball to start the second half. That's why so many teams defer when they win a coin toss, because that's huge, right? But also, being able to run the ball there opens up your entire offense for the rest of the game because you show that you can run the football, which allows you to get back in the game how you want to play it, play your game, and control the clock and get time of possession back. But if you don't run the ball, you're going to be playing catch up the rest of the game. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens, and it happened here. Just a terrible offensive game plan from start to finish from the Chiefs, and it was accentuated by Patrick Mahomes' bad play. And then defensively, they started good. They were playing pretty darn good. They had the interception on Jalen Hurts. They held the Eagles offense 3 of 11 on third down. But as the game went on, they just fell apart more and more and more. They literally sold out to stop Saquon Barkley, and they did that, sure. But at what cost? Jalen Hurts ran all over him and threw all over them as well. It was a death by 1,000 paper cuts because you chose to stop him at all costs, and you allowed the Eagles offense, the rest of their offense, which is really talented. It's not like they just have Saquon Barkley. No, they have 2 really phenomenal receivers, a phenomenal quarterback, and a phenomenal offensive line, a phenomenal tight end. They have all of that. They have star players at every spot. Every spot. And you saw it to stop one guy who was the best on the team, yeah. But you still got everything else to worry about. And so they played, and with this, they played right into the Eagles' hands. They kept on getting down. The deficit kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they just couldn't dig the hole out because they didn't have the proper game plan nor adjustments to make it happen. And that's on the coaching staff. Part of this game is 100% on the coaching staff. It's obvious to me they did not have a good game plan going in. They didn't have a good one. They did not have a good game plan. They had no answer. No answer for what the Eagles were going to bring them. And what they do, that's what happened. Then you look at their keys, and you look at what Eagles, they hit on every one of their keys and passed with flying colors. The Chiefs, they stunk it up hard. The first one containing the defensive line, no, they literally didn't. I even said the pass rush isn't exactly the Eagles, their strong side. They're better in run defense than they are in the pass rush. The pass rush is good, but the run defense is much better. And no, they allowed the pass rush. The pass rush was the bigger highlight of the show. It was the bigger aspect of their performance, more than it was the run defense. But then again, they only ran the ball 7 times, and Mahomes only ran it 4 times. That's a total of 12 times, 11 times. No one's going to talk about that. People are going to talk about Mahomes getting sacked 6 times. And so they didn't do that. Winning on third down. Sure, on defense they did. But when they were getting cooked regardless on first and second down, it didn't matter. And then on the other side of it, on offense, they were 3 of 11 on third down on offense. They were terrible. They were absolutely terrible. And the matchup here was they had to win on defense. They had to win on third down, which they did. But first and second down, which is they weren't here. They literally were not here in the game. The players were still sleeping in their hotel in New Orleans. They were still sleeping at Le Pavilion or one of the other hotels that are down there. They were still sleeping, right? On first and second down, they were still sleeping, and then on third down, they woke up and immediately ran to the stadium, then played and got off the field, right? That's what they did. And then offensively, like I said, they went 3 of 11 on third down, and they had one of the best third down offenses in the NFL going up against one of the best third down defenses in the NFL, and that matchup, which was so important, literally went to crap. So they didn't do a good enough job there. Third key, balanced offense. No! I just talked about all the time how bad of a game plan this was, and their lack of adjustments was absolutely sickening. And then the fourth one, minimizing turnovers. Nope, didn't. Number 5, stopping Saquon. Sure, they did that. Cool, but at what cost? And then there's literally the key right after it. You're going to stop Saquon, but you still got to stop Jalen Hurts from running. They didn't do that either. And then the last one, keeping the game in one possession, they did not do that. They did not do that. The moment it went up 10-0, it was over. At that point, it was over. 17-0, it was over. And there's a reason why they lost 2 games. Their only 2 losses were by multiple possessions. Eagles got up by multiple possessions, and there you go. That's how the cookie crumbles. And for Kansas City, this loss showed that this team has a lot of problems. They have a lot of problems that went under the radar, more than I even realized. But in the playoffs, your flaw, if you have fatal flaws, they're going to get found, they're going to get exploited, and they're going to attack you where you are at your weakest. And Kansas City, they got a lot of issues that they need to fix. This roster, honestly, looking back, was not a great Chiefs roster. It really was not. Compared to previous years, this was not it, man. Honestly, looking back, it's a marvel that they somehow even managed to get here. But hey, they did it. They got here. That's a testament to their organization, to the players that they have, and the culture that they have. I'll give them the credit there, right? But man, there's a lot of issues. And we'll talk more about it when we get to the Chiefs predictions versus reality. But they have a lot of holes that they need to fill. And then for Philly, once again, congratulations. Philadelphia Eagles are your Super Bowl 59 champions. One more thing before I get into the news, I wanted to shout out to Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles. I forgot to mention him over there, but I remember now. I want to talk about it now. Give me a second, actually. You know what? I think it's transition time, actually. We'll talk about Nick Sirianni, and then we'll get into news. All right, and here we go. So back to what I was talking about with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni has been one of the more polarizing people in the NFL as of late. Especially earlier in the year, they were 2-2. They were struggling, and they had a really close win against the Cleveland Browns where he was yelling at Browns fans, and people were calling him classless. And, Nick Sirianni's always been an emotional guy. That's his MO. That's who he is. But he's never shied away from that, which is admirable. And then for him to get to this point and win a Super Bowl with Philly, you can't be more happy for Nick Sirianni. Because so many Eagles fans, after the loss in Tampa in the wild card round last year, wanted him fired, wanted him run out of town, right? They turned on him so quickly. And then he cut out all the noise, brought them a Super Bowl. And quite frankly, you look at his numbers and look at his wins and you look at, the team that he's helped Howie Roseman build. I mean, we have to start acknowledging that Nick Sirianni is a great freaking coach. He is one heck of a coach. A lot of people doubt him and they think he's not a good coach. Nah, Nick Sirianni is a great freaking coach. He is one heck of a coach. And now he's got the Super Bowl under his belt. He's been to 2, which is more than John Harbaugh has, more than Sean McDermott has, more than Zach Taylor has, right? You talk about, Lamar, Burrow, Josh Allen. He's been to more Super Bowls than those guys. Jalen Hurts has been to more Super Bowls than those guys. It's time to start having the conversation that Nick Sirianni is a top 3 head coach in the NFL. That's got to be a thing now. That's got to be a conversation now because now he's gone out there and he's done it. Then Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to say top 3, top 5, no. But definitely he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL because he was able to get the ring. He was able to go out there and actually do it. Compared to these rest of these guys that we talk about there at the top, Jalen Hurts actually did it. But Nick Sirianni, I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy that despite everything that happened, he still came back and delivered in the biggest stage and the biggest possible moment. You cannot be happy for anybody else. And then they did the Gatorade bath in the fourth quarter. It was a great dunk, by the way. Great dunk. AJ Brown and I think it was it Saquon Barkley? No, I think someone else had it. I think it was Mekhi Becton maybe. They had it and they almost spotted them having it, but they moved it and then they were able to get him with it. And you could tell that he's happy. And then his speech after the game, you could see the passion in his eyes. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for everybody on this Eagles team. So many players, so many coaches, right? So many people deserved this ring and deserved this win. They deserved it so much. And I can't express my happiness and gratitude. Gratitude is not the right word, but I'm express my happiness and admiration for all what the Eagles went through early on in the year and what they've gone through in years past to continue to build and get better and show up in the greatest stage and absolutely dominate in a way I did not expect. I don't think anybody expected, realistically. It's a phenomenal job. Another round of applause for Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles. And just like that, we have no more football, NFL football or college football for the next 6 months. So it's going to be sad. It's going to be a little bit of a sad time, but we have free agency coming. We have the draft coming, which is going to be very exciting. And then before we know it, those dates are going to come by. They're going to go. And we're going to wake up one day and it's going to be late August, early September, and NFL football will be back in the 2026 season. What a finale for the 2025 season. What a year. But that is enough of that. Let's move on to the news. You already know what I'm talking about. The news. I love talking about the news. I love doing this now at the end because it's a good closer. It's a good closer for me because more people, you come here for the recap, right? And if you really want to stay here and make it to the end and talk about news with me or listen to me talk about the news, here we go. And it's a perfect way to just close out the show easy, comfortably, and ease our way, as we begin to hit the tail end here. But we'll only have three news topics, and then I also at the end want to talk about the NFL honors and give you my thoughts. But the first big thing of news, Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator, will stay in New Orleans and become their next head coach. For Kellen Moore, congratulations. You had a great year. Go be a head coach and try and build up another team. Happy for him. I wish you would have stayed in Philly. I don't think you really want to go to the Saints organization right now, just because their GM is awful. I know he's been there forever, but he's throwing them in salary cap, HE double hockey sticks, right? The roster's just a middling roster. Like I said, no money. And then now a lot of high-ranking executives in the Saints front office helped a church cover up some very, I can't say the DAMING word. I don't know if that's technically a curse word. I'm not going to risk it. But if you guys don't know, the Saints apparently helped a church cover up some really bad allegations. I'm not going to say what they are on the show because that's not appropriate. But if you know, you know. If you don't know, I would look it up. Something that is very, very nasty. Something that is not very good at all. And will be interesting to see what happens. And if it ends up, and if more stuff ends up being confirmed and the Saints get disciplined, well, we might have to talk about it then. But for now, not appropriate. If you know, you know. If you don't know, look it up. It's not very pretty. Not very pretty at all. But Kellen Moore, back to the case in point, he goes to New Orleans to become the head coach. Good for him. He's had a great pedigree of coaching offenses over these past few years, not just with Philly, but with Dallas as well, and with the Chargers as well, right? So I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he can do. And it's another young offensive guy, right, for the Saints. This is what they need, I think. And they look like they're gonna move on from Derek Carr. And they're probably going to draft a quarterback in the second or third round. They're not going to be in a position to draft one in the first. But it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they start Spencer Rattler into year 2. Maybe. We'll see. But very interesting move. And now all head coach vacancies have been filled. We have... Let me go through this real quick in my head. The New England Patriots, they hired Mike Vrabel. The Raiders hired Pete Carroll. The Bears hired Ben Johnson. The Saints have hired Kellen Moore. The Cowboys have hired Brian Schottenheimer. I'm not looking forward to that at all, by the way. And then, let me see. That was the NFC West, the West. McDonald, Shanahan, Gannon. Nope, that's it. The 5 head coaching vacancies have been filled. Oh, yeah, the Jets. Aaron Glenn. They got Aaron Glenn over there, so that's 6 filled out. And then going back, we're not really going back, but moving on. The next thing is that the 49ers are pretty much expected to trade Deebo Samuel at this point. And if I'm the 49ers, there you go. I don't want to see Deebo leave, but at the same time, he has not lived up to expectations ever since signing his big contract a couple of years ago. And the 49ers, a lot of their highest paid guys, they're getting older, they're aging, and it's getting really it's getting close to that time for the 49ers to really begin retooling. If that's not this offseason, they probably will do this offseason. I think they have to at this point. If I take that back, but and part of that is just unloading, big time veteran contracts that with the players that haven't lived up to expectations. And Deebo Samuel, I think it's time for him to have a new opportunity. Be nice to see where he goes. I don't know where he could go. But wherever he goes, he's going to play a big role. So I'm excited to see what happens there. The trade compensation will be interesting. I don't know what you're going to get for Deebo Samuel and take on that contract. But you're probably going to get a couple draft picks. And San Francisco's probably going to have to eat a lot of the money, a lot of the dead cap. But there is that. And then it's been officially reported that the Tennessee Titans are open to trading down for the first overall pick. I don't know why this is news. I thought this was kind of like common knowledge ever since it was confirmed that they had it. But I guess, a lot of people, they need a quarterback. So I guess people were like, yeah. But also, when the Titans hired Mike Bergonzi, one of the first things he said was, oh, yeah, we're going to listen to calls about trading down. And it's like, oh, yeah, of course they're going to listen to calls about trading down. I mean, when you're the first overall pick, you're always going to entertain trading down. It's always going to happen. But I don't know why they were, it was news that, oh, they're open to trading down. Like, oh, of course they're open to trading down. I mean, the quarterback prospects, they're very mixed. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are very mixed. Me personally, I love Cam Ward, but not a lot of people like Cam Ward. So it's a highly coveted debate. And then, you have Travis Hunter up there, Abdul Carter, the edge rusher out of Penn State. A lot of people are linking Abdul Carter to Tennessee now, which is interesting. They do need an edge rusher, so it checks out. But again, I don't know why this is news. I decided to talk about it because it is official news. I wanted something else to talk about, but they're open to trading down. It is officially official, I guess, but that will do it for news. For the news, let's move on and cap off the show with my thoughts on the NFL honors. Honestly, I didn't watch it. I wanted to watch it, but I was working on predictions versus reality, and I kind of just okay, I just scrolled through social media and looked at it every time it popped up. So here's my thoughts. Josh Allen winning the NFL MVP. At first, during the beginning of the year, I was one of the people that was like on Josh Allen's side against Lamar versus Allen. I was on team Josh Allen to win MVP. But as the year went on, he had a couple lackluster performances, and and Lamar Jackson continued to get better and better and better. I thought Lamar Jackson this year truly deserved to win MVP. Absolutely played out of his mind. But at the same time, Josh Allen, what he was able to do with this team that was written off at the beginning of the year and to go all the way to the AFC Championship, that's really respectful. It's commendable. I respect it. And Josh Allen, in a way, he does deserve it. I love the guy. He works his butt off. And what he was able to do this year was unprecedented compared to what most quarterbacks would do and how they would suffer in the same situation. So Josh Allen winning MVP. I thought Lamar Jackson really deserved it. But it's okay. I get it. Offensive Player of the Year being Saquon Barkley, that was penciled in before like week 8. Before the halfway point, that was penciled in at that point. Easy one. Defensive Player of the Year being Patrick Surtain, the corner in Denver. I don't know about this one, guys. I really don't know. Because Patrick Surtain, he played out of his mind. He was great. He was the best corner in the NFL this year by far. But I thought Zach Bond really deserved it. Zach Bond played out of his mind, right? Also helped his team go win a Super Bowl, which I think holds a lot of weight in that conversation. Because you have a great year, fine. But if you're a key part in a Super Bowl run or a deep playoff run, that helps a lot more. That really, to me, boosts someone's case a lot more. Because, Pat Surtain, he was great. But the Broncos went 10-7. They went to the playoffs and then got their butts kicked by Buffalo. And, well, I mean, he didn't do a lot in that game. Granted, the Bills were running the ball a whole bunch of times. But when you see Zach Bond have a really good year and then go to the Super Bowl, I feel like that holds more weight. I thought that Zach Bond deserved it more. But Pat Surtain getting it. He had a phenomenal year regardless. So congratulations to you. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels. Everyone saw that coming. No one thought it was going to be anything different. Congratulations to Jaden Daniels. Defensive Player of the Year, once again, I'm a little confused about it. Jared Verse won it. First off, congratulations to Jared Verse. One of the key reasons why this defense in LA for the Rams, turned a corner and played so phenomenal in the wild card round against against the Minnesota Vikings. Played a big part in that. So congratulations to Jared Verse. But I thought Quinyon Mitchell deserved it. You look at the numbers that Quinyon Mitchell had as a corner in his rookie year. He had one of the greatest rookie seasons a corner's ever had. In my opinion, when you look at the numbers and you look at the film, he had a better rookie year than Sauce Gardner did when he won Defensive Rookie of the Year a couple years ago. He was better. I wouldn't say objectively better. There's an argument to be made. But Quinyon Mitchell, in my opinion, had a better rookie year than Sauce Gardner did. I believe that. And so seeing him get snubbed is unfortunate. And also, same thing for Zach Bond, same reasoning here. He helped his team go win a Super Bowl. And played out of his mind throughout the entire playoffs. Right? So, there is that as well. And moving on there, Coach of the Year Kevin O'Connell. I can understand it. I thought Dan Campbell was gonna win it, but Kevin O'Connell, I can see it because a lot of people wrote off the Minnesota Vikings when JJ McCarthy went down. Sam Darnold was gonna go in, and they ended up, having one of the best years the Minnesota Vikings has ever had. Incredible offense, made Sam Darnold look amazing. Defense was phenomenal. So I can understand giving Kevin O'Connell Coach of the Year. He was my second choice. He was my second choice behind Dan Campbell, but he deserves it. Congratulations to him. Comeback Player of the Year being Joe Burrow. I think a lot of people penciled that in. A lot of people expected that. Went down with an injury halfway through 2023, and then came back here and had the best year by a quarterback in the NFL not named Lamar Jackson, and had the Bengals had a mid defense, not even a bad defense, not even like a good defense, a mid defense. They probably would have been in the AFC Championship. They would have been in there probably. Joe Burrow definitely. I mean, he got MVP votes. He got MVP votes, and he was one of my top 5 guys that deserve MVP. But Comeback Player of the Year makes sense. Good for Joe Burrow. And then Assistant Coach of the Year Ben Johnson. Awesome. He deserved it too. He was phenomenal in his last year with Detroit. But that is the NFL honors. Honestly, most stuff was pretty penciled in. Defensive Rookie and Defensive Player of the Year was a little bit interesting to me. I thought there was a couple players there that, like I said, I thought deserved it more. But those players were also equal, were pretty deserving as well. So I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about it. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. We made it. The NFL season's over. Got a bunch of off-season content coming out for you guys. After predictions versus reality and all those videos come out, I think I might take a week or two off from making content just to chill out and take a short break and refresh myself and come and think about my next move and what my plan is, next content plan is after predictions versus reality. But other than that, make sure that you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pushing those 2 buttons on your feed helps me out tremendously in helping me grow my passion and sharing my passion of talking about football with more and more people on this platform. Making sure you leave your comments down below, wanting to hear thoughts about the game, about the news, honors thoughts. I want to hear all of your thoughts. And then I also make sure you guys are sharing the video, whether by word of mouth or by sharing on social media, getting everybody locked in and locked on to the Shumake Take podcast, coming out with great content for you guys every week, every single week. And also, I want to give a big thank you to everyone, not just the viewers, but everyone who subscribed to the channel. We started with 5 or 6 subscribers going into the year, and we ended up finishing with 35. We gained 30 subscribers, 30 subscribers throughout the course of this NFL season. I can't thank each and every one of you enough. I know that 35 is not a lot, but either way, the fact that a whole bunch of you decided to subscribe to this little channel and listen to me share my passion with football and share my analysis and thoughts to you guys mean the world to me. I know I haven't talked a lot about subscribers and whatnot other than the stuff at the end making telling you guys to do whatever YouTuber tells you to do, right? But from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and watching my videos and helping this channel grow in a way I honestly didn't expect. I did not expect to start, to get 30 plus subscribers throughout the year. I did not expect for my videos to go from 10 to 20 views now to these past few videos averaging 50 to 60 views per video. Like, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And everyone's got to start somewhere. But I am so much grateful and excited that there's people out there that enjoy my content, and I'm so happy that you guys are liking it. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you guys again for all your support, listening to the Shumake Take, watching the Shumake Take. Content's not over. It's not over. It's just the beginning as we continue on this journey together. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Predictions versus reality will be dropping next week, and I will see you all next time.